So for our pot creation, of course, we're going to need our little pot. We're also going to need a piece of newspaper. Now I'm pulling this from a local newspaper. That's the size we're talking about. So I'm just going to take out one full sheet from that. I'm going to be using that. We're also going to be using some moss. That's that dried, I think they call it sphagnum moss. I just picked this up at in the craft section at a local store. And we're also going to use some of our burlap ribbon. Okay, so we're going to start by taking our newspaper, and I apologize for the crackling that's going to occur, but what you want to do is just scrunch the newspaper up into a tight ball. Okay, once you've got that, you're going to take it apart again, and you're going to reshape it into a ball, but this time you want to do so that you have a smooth outside area, like so. So just shape that paper back into the ball so that you've got sort of a smooth side to it. Okay, and that's going to be the filler in our pot, just so we don't have to use so much of the moss. We're going to glue gun this into our pot. Okay, I'm back. I've got my glue gun here. You can see it's set to drip onto a Stampin' Up! Silicone sheet so I don't burn the house down. And I've got my little pot ready, and here's my piece of newspaper that is set to go in like this after I add some glue. Okay, so it's easier to put the glue in the pot itself. So hopefully you can see this. Just going to run some sort of around the edges of the pot and the bottom. And what's really hard is these silly glue guns don't feed the glue themselves, or at least the one that I have don't. So I'm going to do that. Take my newspaper and just push it in like that. Okay, and that glue will set up and that will be secure. Okay, so next, you can see I've got glue trails here, which you can get rid of after you're completed here. And if they are stuck to the edge of the tin, which happened to me before, you can take your glue eraser and just rub those off. I'm not going to worry about that now. Okay, so next we have our bag of moss. Now this was in a cellophane bag when I bought it. This stuff is very messy, so you want to try and contain the mess by pulling it off gently. If you pull hard, it won't come. So pull some gently from within the bag, and then you're going to take it to your project. Okay, you will probably end up with a bit of mess, but that's the way these projects go sometimes. Okay, so I'm just going to, that's going to go in there like that. So I'm going to add some glue. This glue gun's not working well. There. Yes. And just put that in. And if you're worried about getting burnt, it's a good idea to press with something so you're not going to get burnt. I'm just using a pair of tweezers here to push that down in. And I'll go back, get some more of the moss. And make sure where to place it. Yeah, that's going to go like that. So get some more glue. Like that. And position. And press it down into the glue. Now, what you're going to end up with here, you'll probably end up giving it a bit of a haircut before you start placing your succulents. But we just want right now to get a good base for our succulents and to cover all the newspapers. You can see that the newspaper is still showing here, so I want to get some more of that moss to fill in that area. And I think that will probably do me. I just want to make sure that that sort of works. Yeah, that should work okay. So I'll add in some more glue in that area. Come on, glue gun, work for me. I think I gotta add in some more glue at the end. Press it forward. There we go. Okay. So put that in the center and use my tweezers to adhere it. There we go. Okay, I'll just turn it around, make sure all your areas are covered so that none of the newspaper is showing. Okay, now also you can see that I've got lots of pieces that are sticking straight up here that aren't necessarily going to look that great. So I'm going to give my moss a little bit of a haircut before I start with my succulents. So I'm just going to trim a little bit around the edges, and these pieces that are sticking up, I'm going to cut those a bit. Sort of like hedge trimming, though I'm not the best at hedge trimming, but I think I can handle it just for this project. So cut a few more of those off. Like that, and you can always trim at the end if there's still some. And you see I'm getting glue and that as we go. Again, everything will work out in the end. Okay, so we've got that. Just want to make sure I get any of this mess away from the glue on the sheet so nothing starts burning on me. Okay, and I'm going to take this away. Okay. Now we're going to take our flowers or our succulents and plan our arrangement. So what I found worked best is, I'm going to start with the biggest one, and I like to place it off center. So not right here, I want to place it off center. So something like that. And then work with my medium size ones next, sort of like this. Now these are just perching here. Remember, they're going to be glued in, so we're just getting an idea what will work. Okay, so I'm just going to push those down a little bit. Hopefully they'll sit for a minute, and then I'll fill in these other areas with the little list of the succulents. Okay, so this like that. Now with that said, due to the bumpiness of this, I may have to adjust to find the best spot for these to work. So I'm going to try it again, same sort of arrangement, but just different parts of the moss. Okay, so that one off center, those two on the other side off center, and then fill in with the smallest succulents. And I'm a little off camera there. So you can see that by the time those are glued in, I think that we'll have a nice little arrangement there. Okay, so we've got the idea. Now, if you think it might fall apart in the meantime, what you can always do, and I do this often when I'm card making, snap yourself a photo of it with your cell phone. Okay, now we're going to remove one succulent at a time, add some glue to the bottom, and stick it back into the arrangement. Okay, so I'm going to start with the smallest ones. So just get some good bit of glue on there and get it back into place and stick it down. You shouldn't get burnt this time unless you put too much glue on. Okay, that one looks okay. Just going to turn it around. Okay, here's our next one. Guy's got to go there. So add some glue to him. push him into position. Okay, one more little flower to do. Those guys will be going there, and this one might have to do some more trimming here, I think, in there. Gotta have a little spot for the succulent to nestle in, as it were. Okay, so a bit of glue for him, and push him into position. Okay, this is coming together quite nicely. All right, next up, I'm going to do the medium-sized ones. Now, this is the one that's sort of off-center, so I want to play with him a bit to sort of get the best look for him. What would make most sense? Do we want to have the off-center place growing up like that, or I think like that? I think I like it that way. Okay, so take it off, add some glue, and back into position. Push it right down in so that glue latches onto the moss well. Okay, so that one's going back up there nicely. And let's go back and do this guy. Okay, so he's good. Some glue. Press him down good. All right, last one. So we want him nestled right up there, and let's spin him around a bit. Yeah, like that. Okay, last one. And on he goes. Okay, so now we've got our basic arrangement here. You can do any further trimming. I'm just going to unplug my glue gun since we're finished with that. And I'm going to look for any further trimming. Let's take up these little edge pieces here. Now, some of you might want it to overlap more of the tin, and if that's the look that you want, that's fine. I just want to clip up these a little bit, give it a cleaner look. Some of these pieces up here. Be careful not to cut my succulents now that I got them in there. Okay, so that looks better to me. Oh, a few more pieces on this side. Okay, and I'm just going to turn it over and tap and get rid of any loose fibers. Okay, now this is what I was talking about with these tails or glue trails. Now, some of them don't want to come off easily. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my glue remover. This is available from Stampin' Up, and I'm just going to use it to get those trails off there, and just work at it and it will all come off. Okay, I'm back with you. I've got my piece of ribbon, and what I've done, I just found the center part of the ribbon and I pressed down into a glue dot in that center and then added glue dots on either side of that. And here's my little pot. I'm going to have my bow right here underneath the blue flower. So I'm going to take the center of my ribbon and place it at the back, right up under the rim. And that glue dot will adhere it. And then wrap it around till we come to the other glue dot. And on the other side, that will help keep the ribbon in place when you go to tie your bow. Okay, just want to make sure that that's even. Pull that up to the top. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie my bow. Just go down through like tying a shoe. And then the piece that is pointing down becomes your loop. And the other piece comes around from the left, around the bow, down through the hole, and pulled to become your other loop of the bow. Now, it's not pulling straight just because of the texture of the ribbon itself, but once you've got it in the space that you want, you can play with it to get it shaped up the way that you want it to be. Make your loops more even. Okay, sorry about the bouncing camera. I hit my tripod, as it were. Okay, so we've got our little bow here, and I would just go ahead then and trim my ends. That, and we want to make it even, so roughly like that. There's our little bow and our completed little pot. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial, and that you go away and try making your own little succulent arrangement. Thanks for tuning in today.